This, my friends, is a Gatsby, a traditional South African sandwich that I made a little different. This one is called a Meatball Gatsby, and you're gonna see why. So first up, we're gonna make the meatballs. Take some bread, stale bread, preferably not too old, and cut it up nicely. You can use breadcrumbs instead if you don't want bread, or if you're afraid that there might be whole pieces of bread in your meatballs. I know some people complain about that, but it doesn't happen often. So yeah, cut up the bread and pinch it so that it can become crumbly, and then add about a half a cup of milk to it so that it's a little soggy and you can incorporate it nicely into your meatballs. So you knead that nicely, and there I have my 500 grams of ground beef with some herbs, some cabana spice, or maybe oh, that's paprika, but anyway, yeah, I add cabana spice usually, and some black pepper. Don't worry, the recipe is in the description. And then finally, some salt, or maybe this isn't finally. But yeah, then knead it together nicely. Yes, keep kneading it so that everything's incorporated. Add one egg, one whole egg, white yolk, and then add the bread, the soggy, milky bread, or the breadcrumbs. Whichever you prefer, it really doesn't matter, just as long as you can form nice pieces of balls. And apparently I'm still kneading. I probably could have skipped this part, but okay, I'm still kneading and kneading and still kneading. Okay, I'm done. And then on to the next thing. What's next? Let's see. What's coming next? While I'm talking about this, my new cookbook is out, so you can go check that out. You can buy it as a PDF, or you can buy it on Amazon. Okay, so nice. It's chopping board. So we're obviously making the chips or fries. I call it chips because this is sporty chips or slop chips. That's going on the Gatsby. You probably know how you cut your potatoes. This is just a quick way to show you how I usually cut mine. Sometimes I go thin, sometimes I go thick. This time I went right in between. So let's keep this. And there I have my oil heating up, and I have my pan ready for the meatballs. And yeah, dropping the chips in the hot oil. Apparently, just don't overcrowd your pot. I did overcrowd mine a little because I was in a hurry, but don't do that. And yeah, shake it nicely, and kids, don't stick your fingers in hot oil. I don't know what I was thinking, but yeah, I usually do it, but you shouldn't. And then your meatballs. One. Okay, when's the next one coming? Two, three. Okay, I'm gonna stop counting, but anyway, get your meatballs in a hot iron skillet or whatever saucepan you want to use. You can even bake them off in the oven if that's what you prefer. I usually do an iron skillet and then just cook them through in the oven. And there, all my meatballs, and I promise they won't multiply. And then add a can of onion and tomato relish, or you can add a can of chakalaka if that's available, and to make it a little more authentic African. And finally, also just a half cup of water and some tomato sauce. This is about 2 tablespoons of tomato sauce. You can add more if you want it a little more sweet and tangy. And then just mix it all through and make sure to cook your meatballs well done. You shouldn't eat your meatballs medium unless you mince the meat yourself. And yeah, let that cook through for a few minutes until everything is nice and well done. Add some salt and pepper to the sauce so that it is seasoned. You don't want unseasoned sauce. You can add some cabana spice or anything else that you want. And now I'm just showing you how I cut up a tomato for some reason. Everyone knows how to slice a tomato, but this is probably one of my methods. I'm not sure. Let's see. It's not really good, but do it however you want to. I make mistakes all the time. I'm not a professional always, but yeah. Slice up your tomatoes to make a sandwich because you need to add some salad to that sandwich. And there I have it, or there you have it, all my ingredients that will go on my baguette. That wasn't homemade, but I usually use homemade baguettes. Sometimes a day old, sometimes fresh. It just depends on the mood and who I'm with. Some people do not deserve fresh bread. Okay, cut your bread open. You can smear some mayonnaise or butter on the bun or on the bread. I didn't in this case. I just laid out my salad, which is just lettuce and tomatoes. You can add some cucumbers if that's what you like, some raw onions, or even some grilled onions or some browned onions. Any of it will work. And then next up, you should actually go chips first, but I went meatballs first and I'm using a small spoon, and that's probably not the smart and effective way to work. I could have been done already, but no. Somebody had to use a teaspoon to gently put the meatballs on the sandwich. And finally, yes, I'm finally putting on the chips, which is something that I probably should have done already. But whatever method, everything goes down the same pipe into the same hole. I didn't want to say hole, but yeah, into the same room, into the same stomach, tummy. And yeah, I'm almost about done. You can add other sauces, but because I made a marinara or a meatball sauce with the meatballs, that's what I'm gonna add to these Gatsby's, and I'm using a small spoon again. Okay, this is probably gonna take a while, and while I'm doing that, click on the link in the description. Go buy one of my books for this recipe and many others. You can also go check out my other videos, but only after this one is done, so you know exactly how many teaspoons of sauce you have to add to the sandwich to make it a meatball Gatsby in this case. And there I'm finally done, and it's ready to serve. It's best if you wrap it and then cut it up in 2 or 4 pieces to enjoy with others. This isn't for one person. Please remember that. And yeah, my nephew wanted me to advertise Prime at the time, so that's his Prime. This isn't an endorsement or an advertisement for Prime. He just thought it would look good in the video. And there you have it. A meatball Gatsby made by the Denim Chef.